So there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in this room. There's a lot happening nationally to connect communities and to make sure that connecting communities is at the top of the agenda all the time for activity providers. But it's not just something that we can just do. I think sometimes we've heard through Activity Support Service, and Natalie, our Service Improvement Manager, feeds back all the time when she's supporting activity providers, that sometimes they're asked to do community engagement. They're asked to do intergenerational work. Just go and do it on a Thursday afternoon. It takes planning, it takes time to build relationships and to build connections. And so now I'd like to introduce Louise. Louise is here from the Together Project, who's going to tell us a little bit about their incredible work, how to make this happen on the ground. So hi Louise, please come over. Give her a round of applause as she makes her way.
It's really lovely to be here today. I'm the founder and chief executive of the Together Project. We're a national charity, and our vision is of a nation full of meaningful intergenerational friendships. I mean, we actually want to make the word intergenerational redundant. We just want it to be natural and easy for people of different ages, with different walks of life, to be friends and to socialise together, because that's how we all live a much richer and diverse and more meaningful life. This is where my foray into the world of intergenerational practice first began. So this is me and my baby, as it was at the time, Sam Heath, and his new best friend, Sylvia. This was in her care home in Walthamstow, where we live. And when I became a mum for the first time, and I wanted to feel a bit more connected to my local community, not just other mums and babies. And I knocked on the door of my local care home, my baby strapped in the carrier, spoke to the care home manager and said, look, I've got this idea. And this idea became myself and a group of parent friends and our babies going to our local care home every week, big bag of instruments, singing some songs, having a cup of tea and a chat, and making some friendships. And I think you can see from the smiles and the connections on everybody's faces there what the kind of magic and the happiness that that brought to everybody involved. And all the work that we do, and all intergenerational work, should be about people coming together as equals. This isn't about us going in there to cheer up people in care homes. This is about the parents and the children getting as much out of these rich experiences as the older adults did as well. And so what started off as a grassroots project in my local care home is now a national charity. We have a range of different programmes and service offerings. Two that are relevant for the people in this room today are Songs and Smiles. So that grassroots programme in the care home became Songs and Smiles, which is a weekly intergenerational music group for 0 to 4-year-olds and their parents or guardians and older adults. It's just about the most life-affirming, joyful way to spend an hour a week. We sing songs, we play instruments, we dance with coloured scarves, there's bubbles, there's tea, there's cake. It's one of my favourite times of the week. And we have Crafting Connections as well. This was actually a project that was born out of something we did in lockdown around National Day of Arts in care homes, where we partnered up, so children and older people in care homes created handprint-themed pictures, symbolic of reaching out across the divide that COVID had created, and swapped them in the post. And we swapped hundreds of handprints. And people said, I really want to stay in touch with Joan. Can I send her a Christmas card? I want to know what she's up to. So we developed Crafting Connections, and it's a pen pal scheme, but using arts and crafts. So a child is partnered with an older adult in a care home. Every month they create a picture on a certain topic, like friendship or kindness, fill out some questions and swap them in the post. So everybody gets a friendship folder to store up their new friends' pictures and questionnaires. So I'm here today to talk about the essential A's of intergenerational activity. And I'm going to start with a chap called Anthony. So So Anthony lived in the care home, Sylvia's care home that I started up Songs and Smiles in. Anthony had lived there for about 3 years. He didn't have any friends or family who came to visit him. He didn't have any visitors the whole 3 years. He didn't get out into the community either. The only time he left the care home was to go to hospital. He spent a lot of his time sitting and watching telly or sitting in his room. And then we came in.
Taking over the back, put the old self in, the old self back. That's a good one, that is. Others are great, the children. Everything joined in and all that. That's pretty good.
Yeah. You've come to each session, have you? To join each session?
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing about it?
Everything. Everything. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it when you come.
For the first time in that 3 years, Anthony had people coming in from the outside community to visit him. They knew his name. They knew to ask him about the TV programme he'd watched yesterday, his favourite show, or what he'd been up to that week. He felt part of the community, and that was transformational for him. Our next A is awareness, and this is about approaching intergenerational activity with a truly open and inquiring mind. So we heard so beautifully from Chris and Ronald about the need to really understand the needs, the desires, the interests, the capacities, the capabilities, the challenges of the people that we're working with. Intergenerational activities give you the opportunity to cater for all of those things and bring the community in to help support that. Maybe have people who are really involved in arts and crafts. Is there a local arts and crafts group that they can be involved in? For some people, bringing children and babies into the home is going to be the best thing you can do for them. Other people hate babies, noisy, make a lot of fuss. But actually bringing teenagers in, or young adults, could be an opportunity for them to share some knowledge or a particular skill. Intergenerational activity shouldn't just be for the sake of it. It should be really about enhancing the lives of the people that you're putting the activities on for. Identify opportunities in your communities. So sit around, have a brainstorm with staff, with family members, what's out there in the local community. As we heard on earlier, there'll be all sorts of different groups that you can engage with. For example, venue hire, really expensive for people who are putting on activities in the communities. A lot of care homes have big spaces there that you can offer free to groups. I saw a wonderful children's music group that they used to be held in the church hall. Church hall was out of action for a year, so they brought it into the care home. Everybody won. It was just fabulous. Get buy-in at all levels. So there was one care home where the manager was really brought into the idea of Songs and Smiles. She commissioned us to come in and start running the sessions, but she hadn't really explained it to the rest of the home. And what we discovered there were staff members who thought, oh, there's somebody coming in to do an activity, it's a chance for us to have a break. I get it, I know teams are really overstretched and really overworked, but we had to do a lot of work with them to make them realise that actually you need to be engaged, and rather than this feeling like something else you've got to add to your to-do list, this can be a really beautiful, positive part of your role. Compare that to homes where people from the community walk in and reception is there, really pleased to see them, giving them a really warm welcome. The kitchen has prepared the right kind of age-appropriate snacks. Your management team and comms team have told all the residents' families about it. Maybe the residents' families have come along and got involved. Those are the kind of things that make a real difference. The next day is authenticity. We know that challenging, surprising things happen in care homes. Some care homes that we work with can be a bit nervous about opening the doors and bringing people in and adding to some of the chaos. So we work with them to help work through some of those concerns and allay those fears. I heard a talk recently from a lady very senior at CQC, whose name escapes me now, unfortunately, but she was saying how she really enjoys seeing care homes be bold and be brave with the activities that they do, because life has risk, life carries risk for all of us, and if we try and wrap people living in care homes up in cotton wool, then we're denying them the opportunity to live a rich and varied and full life. There was a care home where we were about to start Songs and Smiles, and there was a lady living there who the team knew would absolutely love Songs and Smiles. Issue was, swore like a trooper, absolutely potty mouth. And they were really worried about it. They thought, is this going to be appropriate? What do we do? But they decided, actually, we'll be brave and, you know, we'll mitigate this risk, but we think that this could be really beneficial for her. They had a little chat with her before the session started. They sat her near the door, so if they needed to get her out quickly, they could. The children arrived. That lady did not swear once the whole time, and she didn't swear at any Songs and Smiles session. And one of the activities team mentioned that to her, and she said, well, I wouldn't swear, the children are here. Not only did she not swear during sessions, her swearing outside of the sessions dramatically increased as well. So because the home was brave and thought about how can we accommodate this lady, even though it feels a bit you know, risky, it was absolutely the right thing for her to do. And intergenerational activities give you a real opportunity to beautifully embrace people's reality. We have a few ladies who come along to Songs and Smiles sessions, and they bring their dolls. Their reality is their mums. They've got little ones to look after, so they come to the sessions. The dolls have name badges like the children do. We sing hello to them. These people whose reality is that they're young mums get the chance to bring their children to a baby and toddler group. And that is so beautiful and meaningful for them. I was at a care home recently where there was a lady, one of the residents, chatting to a mum who was just deeply engrossed in conversation with her. This lady used to be a midwife, and she spoke so interestingly and eloquently about all her training. She was giving this mum so many tips and advice and words of comfort. This mum loved it. This mum had no idea that this lady had quite advanced dementia, and if you'd asked her about what she'd done that morning, she wouldn't be able to tell you. This gave her an opportunity to use her expertise and to feel valued and interested in and cared about. Prepare your participants. So we really, as with any activity, this isn't something that should be done to people in care homes. This is something that should be active discussions, talking to them, checking it's the right kind of activity, involving people in the planning and the setup. But also, if you're bringing people into the care homes, preparing them as well, because for a lot of people, care homes can be slightly unfamiliar or even, dare I say, scary environments. Some people will have had poor experiences in the past, or their experience of a care home is perhaps when a loved one's gone in and it's been a bit difficult for them. When we're bringing people into care homes, we have a guide for parents and guardians, for examples, which just explains a bit about the type of people they meet and, conversation starters, that kind of thing. If you've got older children coming into the care home, maybe there's a way to introduce them to the people that they're meeting before they actually come in. So maybe there's video calls or video messages or writing letters to each other, for example. We have our Crafting Connections project, and we prepare the children and we prepare the parents up front for the fact that there is the chance that the person that you are partnered with, because it's an ongoing friendship, will pass away at some point. And we don't shy away from that. That's the reality of it. A lot of what we're doing with Crafting Connections is about educating children, teaching them compassion, kindness, and helping to give parents a kind of gentle way to talk about big, difficult subjects. And there's a lot of research that shows actually if children are given easy, safe experiences to difficult topics early on, it builds resilience and kind of it helps make difficult things a bit easier as they grow. So we prepare parents for that, and they really appreciate that. Anticipation. If you do this right, then intergenerational activities can be one of the most joyful, beautiful things that you can do. We know that CQC loves intergenerational work. I was reading a CQC report recently about a care home that we work with, and they pulled out intergenerational, the activity that we were running, and said it was one examples of best practice, and this home had an outstanding rating. So obviously we need to think about what could go wrong. We need risk assessments, we need procedures, we need policies, we need to think about the usual kind of trips and falls, but also about the individuals involved. So I mentioned the care home previously, where the staff had thought it was maybe a chance to have a little bit of a break. What happened in that care home, in one of the first sessions we ran, there was a lady called Gladys, and as the room was being set up, Gladys fell asleep. She was asleep when all the children and parents and guardians walked in and the session started. Gladys woke up, was really, really disorientated and confused, started shouting, "Get out